All right, everybody, we are now live. Welcome to our TLD live chat. Cody, I don't know if you have the chat pulled up on your phone at all. I don't know if you keep an eye on it. So we're starting our second episode. What we normally like to do, we try to talk about some of our stuff that we've been going over for the past week. So this week we did the glove shootout where we went over. Somehow I had just like a million different types of gloves, so we went over them, and then we also did the Esstac mag pouches, the weird angled ones I did the wrong way. What did you guys think? We'll start there with the glove shootout. I know, Joe, I think you mentioned you had some gloves. By the way, I love the Casey Jones mask. I hope everyone is excited as I am about the mask.
Thanks to Cody. Cody found it, and I said, no, I'm not going to spend my hard money on something like that. And Cody said it's on the way. So thanks, Cody.
I'm surprised we got there on time.
Yeah. No, I think that your video really well made, Walsh. I think that you went over quite a few good points in that video. I think gloves are a hard one because everybody has their difference of opinions on gloves. So I liked your video. I liked watching it. I don't even know what brand these are. Ironclad? Something Ironclad. So Sean from We Like Shooting, he gave me these to try out, but I like these because I am terrible at shooting when I have gloves on. So with these, they're 3 fingers, right? Your middle, your pointer, and your thumb are all fingerless, but the other 2 fingers, they're gloved. So they're not the best for cold weather, but they work really well if you don't want, your trigger finger occupied by cloth. So just another option, but I think your video went really well made.
I think that's the biggest thing that you had to balance. Like, it was always between like, hey, do you want to stay warm or do you want to have more feeling? I think that's why I'd like to try those fingerless ones, because then I could still have my shooting finger. I just hate shooting and not having that feeling of where my finger's at. I'm just kind of like guessing, like, oh, I guess this is here. Like, I think there's a big accuracy loss.
This one time I was at some Army training, and the Army, they make you wear gloves when you're shooting, which is a little bit weird. I wasn't used to that. So we were laying down and finishing up the course. You had to shoot like 10 rounds at the 300-meter target, and you had to hit, I think, 9 out of 10 or something. So I laid down and I kept shooting, man, and I couldn't do it. And they were about to kick me off the course and about to fail me on it. And I walked back to a wooden block and just pulled my finger into a glove and asked my buddy, held the finger out and told him to cut it off. And so he cuts off the finger of the glove. I go back and I shoot 10 for 10. And I don't know, man. It could have been a fluke. I could have been shooting like crap because I'm known for that. But I could have been shooting like crap. But without that finger on there, I made the objective and passed the course. So,
did you see those Kryptek? Maybe you guys can answer me. Well, one second, I want to add this comment in. So, Smoking Face Pelt Outdoors, he says Damascus hysterical. Now, I'm hoping everyone recognizes that is a actual 100% authentic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Casey Jones mask. Like that, it's movie authentic.
It even said Nickelodeon on the box.
And Joey was like, if you guys buy it, I'm going to wear it shooting all the time. We're like, okay.
I don't know. Okay that it's not movie quality.
It's okay. It's okay, man, not movie quality.
He's going to have to do some. He's going to have to do. Totally. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to do some upgrades. Are you going to paint that mask?
I'm undecided right now. I kind of like it just being white, I'm undecided.
I love
if I do something, I'm going to really make everybody mad because I'm going to do something like thin blue line right down it, I'm going to do like straight up thin blue line.
It's kind of like, it's kind of like a different thing, but yeah.
It does.
Yeah, that's why I told you. You're mad already. I'm going to piss everybody off if I do paint it. So.
Oh, anyway, so those Kryptek Kottos gloves, I don't know if you saw those. Those ones I was like super excited about because they looked cool. But the knuckle protector was like way down here.
Yeah, it was like across here.
And I was like, what is this? Like, what is this protecting? And then like I went to go, I was like, I still kind of like these because they're really tactile. And I was like, oh, these are pretty cool. These are kind of that good in between. But then I went to go hook them to my belt, and on the actual wrist thing, it was like a millimeter worth of tab. I'm like, I can't hook this to anything. Like, these are now totally useless. Like, well, disregard these. Like, there's no point in these. I'm just going to give these away to someone who watches the channel because I can't use them. You're just going to stuff them in your
Cody,
pocket.
What gloves were you wearing in Afghanistan?
The Oakley ones.
Same.
I still
The Oakley with the Kevlar carbon fiber.
Yeah, I had a pair of brown ones and a pair of black ones. I still have them.
Yeah, I still have
my
them.
tan ones.
And I'm a fan of those too. Those aren't too bad. They're just still a little bit bulky compared to like the pig ones or the Helikon-Tex ones that Cody let me borrow. Those ones are super nice. I'm really surprised at how good those were for the price. They don't keep you warm.
I complained about the size of the ones I let you borrow, but that's why I get them super small. That way, there's no extra fabric or anything like that.
Yeah, I just didn't like how it ended like up here though. I was like, oh, it was kind of like it.
Yeah, my hands are probably a little smaller than yours. They fit me fine.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Like in the actual like fingers and stuff, it was pretty nice. So I was kind of impressed by that.
And those Oakley gloves, man, they lasted me an entire deployment, and they were a godsend when you're inside up armored vehicles, man. Like you rack your hand and your knees on everything. Like everybody think that people wearing gloves and knee pads, it's for a gunfight. It's not. It's just to survive getting in and out of Mat V's all day long.
Yeah.
Eyes Wide Shut. This is one of our Patreons. It's just I got my gloves from the gardening section at Lowe's, and sometimes
perfect.
That's what you do. It's not that bad. I mean, really, as long as they're not super bunchy.
Hey, you're planting freedom seeds, right?
Yeah. You joke, but those little knitted gloves where it looks like somebody kind of dipped them in plastic or rubber, you know what I'm talking about? I have those for work now, and I get them small, but they're thicker, obviously, than like medical gloves, and they breathe a lot better than medical gloves. But I would say they'd be good shooting gloves if you were in a pinch.
You know what? Somebody tagged me on. They're like, "Why didn't you try?" And they named this brand, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. And I look it up, and it's motorcycle gloves. And I start thinking to myself, like, that's actually pretty genius from a tactical glove. I should have looked at motorcycle gloves because you want to, maintain the tactileness, but then have the protection if you were to fall, particularly on the, on your hands. So I was like, man, that's a pretty genius move. So he gave me a couple ideas. I don't know when we're going to do another glove shootout when I end up with 5 or 10 more pairs of gloves. I hope that doesn't happen. But I think that would be one to throw in there. I think motorcycle gloves would be kind of the surprising angle from a tactical glove. Like, I just picked up some motorcycle gloves. Like, that's pretty smart. Like, I never thought about that.
That's what I've worn a lot of the time. But I don't know what everybody's opinions are on gloves. But when I start talking to people that they watch a lot of YouTube and they go to a lot of gun ranges, but when I start talking to them, they want gloves for like, hands-on stuff, like, I don't know, fighting. Like they look at the Oakley glove and see the knuckle protector and they're like, oh man, somebody, I could hit somebody in the face with this. Like, no, that's not the likelihood of you using your gloves for any of that is slim to none. You need a glove that is good when wet and it protects you when you put your hand on the ground. Because like where I live in Colorado, man, there's we call them goat heads, or there are a lot of names for them, but little sticker bushes. Like you put your hand on a cactus or a sticker bush when you're going prone, you're not going to get that shot off as fast as you wanted to. So that's what I use gloves for, not putting hands on people or punching people in the face or whatever. So gardening gloves, man, you make a joke, or maybe you're not joking, but hey, as long as they protect your hand from the ground and everything else, go for it. Do it.
It kind of leads us into there's a bit of a culture problem within the tactical community where they think that certain gear is the only way to, function. Like, oh, you can't use PSA guns. Like, man, we Cerakote PSA guns. We have zero problems with them. I have no problems recommending a PSA gun. If someone's going to go be a contractor in Afghanistan, I'd probably be like, man, you probably shouldn't buy yourself a PSA. You bet you'd be all right. Our guns, they don't, between the really good guns and the crappy ones that we have, we don't have that many that are crappy, I don't think. None of them really fail. The only one that fails pretty regularly is that stupid left hand 300 blackout I have, and that's only because it's left-handed, and I don't think the QC's there for left-handed guns. I'll never buy left-handed again. From whatever parts we use, just different random parts, that's the only one that even fails 1 in 100. The others are like nothing.
Yeah.
They're just like, shoot, I don't even clean them.
No, I agree with you, man. I'm so tired of, I have the argument all the time. People are like, oh, I'm going to buy this Geisley, or I'm going to go with this brand or this brand. And it's like, why? Because they're the best. Dude, it's mil spec. Like, if you're buying a mil spec part, it's mil spec. There is a specification for it that they have to follow. That includes the type of metal I'm made out of. That includes every single, measurement on it, every single hole, every single everything. So, like, I'll take it on the chin. I used to buy Spike's lowers all the time. Spike's tactical lower all the time, back when they were under $100. Even when they were $130 for a stripped lower, I still bought one. And then Jason turned me on to Arrow, and for the price, like that Arrow went phenomenal. And I don't know, man. I don't see any difference. If you really want, like, if you're like, oh well, and we've talked about that too, right, Walsh? Yeah, well, this gun is a sub MOA gun. Like, what barrel out there isn't sub MOA? But anyway, but then you put a 3 MOA red dot on it. It's like, all right, congratulations, you got a sub MOA gun, and your dot covered your entire target at 100 yards. So if you hit them in the shoulder, you know why? Like, I don't. And that's I don't understand.
Craziest thing. And like, I say when to splurge, and so I'll say to splurge on barrels because it's accuracy, and triggers because I think that still goes into accuracy. But you're totally right. If you're like, say, hey, I built a 2 MOA gun and that's all I could make it, like, well, what optic are you going to put on there? Well, a 2 MOA optic. Well, you can't shoot better than the optic can shoot. So, I mean, what are you going to put a half MOA dot on there? Like, you shoot half MOA groups, you're going to put a half MOA dot on there? Like, you're not going to do that.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And Cody mentioned this last week, but it prides us both to hear you say that, because I remember somebody that bought a trigger and a muzzle device for their gun that they hadn't even shot yet because it was better.
But it was better though. It was pretty good.
It was better. You don't even know what was on it.
That trigger was ridiculous, though.
I mean, I'll give you a trigger. If you want a 3-pound trigger instead of a 6.5 pound, then you got to replace it. But
yeah, it's just so I know this all kind of started too. I was reading something on Reddit where everyone was buying these bolts, and I think we talked about this last week, that were like $240. Like, oh, it's way more reliable. Like, guys, that's an $80 part that takes less than a minute to change. Like, just buy a second one. I don't know anybody who's ran a gun so hard that they busted a bolt, unless they were doing something dumb they shouldn't have been doing. Like,
I mean, you can do it in the reloading, like I'm finding out, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can. That's what's gonna fail on the 6mm. If I go over pressure, the cartridge and the chamber can actually take it. It's the bolt that's gonna fail, and it's gonna rip the lugs off of it. But so if you rip the lugs off, then sure, buy better steel. But nah, people just buy brand names. That's what they do. They buy brand names and they go with it. And if that's your thing, that's your thing. I mean, I'm not telling anybody how to spend their money. Spend it however you want. But when you get done building your super cool gun, and I have 3 guns that will operate just as well as your super cool gun, we just went different paths, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the car world. Are you gonna buy a Corvette or a Lamborghini?
Yeah, you get that diminishing returns. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And Misfit Army saying Arrow's the way. Gucci brands aren't worth it. I think we all in our whole team, we kind of bounced up and down in terms of quality as we started to do some builds, and then we all just kind of ended up with Arrow. As that M4E1 is just like, I just love the way it's set up. So much ease of use. It has so many of the little set screws. They just make life so easy. We use that for pretty much everything. If I'm going to get a lower, that's what I'm going to get. Because there's no real reason not to. Like, if I'm going to get a Geisley handguard, why in the world would I do that? We're going to Cerakote it anyway. So it's like, you're not even going to know what it is by the time we're done painting it. So who cares what it is?
I care more about how it connects to the gun than I do what brand it is.
Because you got to connect it. You got to take it apart and connect it for us.
Yeah. I just, the ones that have the screws in the side of the handguard and they screw into the the barrel nut, those are a pain because you got to keep shimming them, and that can run into accuracy issues, right? So I like clamp-on style, anything like that, and I'll eat crow on this one, Walsh, because when you were building your gun, I was giving you a whole bunch of crap for buying the Aero S1 handguard.
Whoa.
I'm like, why are you spending $120 on a handguard? That's so ridiculous. You know, here's 3 different brands. It's a piece of aluminum that just holding a bipod, if that. Here's 3 different brands, blah 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 blah. And then you sent me all the parts. I painted it, and I almost didn't send it back to you. I almost didn't. I almost didn't. I
remember you're like, what does it cost?
I took it to FedEx, and I was this close to just nope.
I mean, with the paint job, that everything, the way that whole gun turned out. And that we're talking about the gun you guys see mostly on the channel, the distressed white and black with the hexes on it. My 5.56 223, the one we see most of the optics on. We just love the way that thing turned out, and the cost of it was negligible. What, $600 or $700? I think. I mean, it was pre-COVID, before the world ended. But I mean,
I think it was around 8. I think around 800, and I liked it so much that I turned around and built the same exact gun. Just I used a fluted barrel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got
the only difference.
That annoyed me because you got a better deal than I got on my barrel with your fluted barrel. I was like, this is ridiculous. You paid less for the better barrel.
Yeah, I lucked out.
Speaking of, I love those. If you guys aren't running the VG6 muzzle brakes, Joe's gonna make fun of me. Some things don't matter, but those VG6 muzzle brakes are phenomenal, and you can usually catch those for like $30 or $40.
No, I won't make fun of you. I love the VG6 muzzle brakes. When you can find them for $30 or $40, I'll buy one for any gun that I own. I don't care. When they're trying to sell them for 80 to 100, nah, homie, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. I'll go get my 1776 that cost me $17.76.
So here's Smoking Facepelt. He goes, I just picked up a pair of Strong Suit second skins to try, really cost effective. And from my 2 times at the range and running them with drills, not too thick, much more tactile feel than my Mechanix. Yeah, those Mechanix, I probably wouldn't use, like, now that I've played with them more, I probably wouldn't even use those working on cars. They'll protect your hands or keep your hands from getting burnt, but I'm probably just going to drop everything.
So I have a pair of like tactile Mechanix gloves. They're super thin, just like the shooting gloves we have.
You like them?
Yeah, but I got them in my bag upstairs, but I want to see how the fingertip is. So that the shooting gloves that I let you borrow, I like how you said how they're wrapped instead of having it sewn at the end.
And just get all fingery on the inside. Yeah.
So I need to double check and see how those are.
I have 2 pair of regular Mechanix gloves, and I've never used them for shooting or working on the car. I use them for riding motorcycles. They were great for that.
Yeah.
My crotch rocket, I had those, and my dirt bike and 4-wheeler, I had regular Mechanix gloves. So
Smoking Facepelt, he said he struggles with dropping 60 plus on gloves that have 0 tactile feel. Yeah, I have. Those are winter gloves. Like, if I can go on Amazon. If they don't have any tactile feel, that means probably they're just like shoveling gloves. Yeah, like Joe was saying, the fingerless gloves, and I really like the Wartorns. They're up there though. They're like 30 or 40, but they kind of just met in the middle. But I liked how I kind of gave you a description of all the different ones and kind of the pros and cons, because some people may be like, man, I just want grip above everything else. But all right, get those Mickey Mouse 511s, but I don't want those. Like, you can't. You just, it's like, excuse me, I can't feel anything.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to spend $60 on some gloves I can't feel anything either. Alaskan Ballistics in here. If you guys haven't got to meet them, Joe and Cody, I've been wanting you guys to get over on his chat. So if you're out here, man, it's good seeing you, Chuck. I'm trying to get Joe in there so we can come over and talk to you about the 6mm ARC we're working on. We're going to send that video out tomorrow, and then we can come out there and talk a little bit more.
Is it still 2 parts, Walsh? Part 1
no,
and
part
2?
It's gonna be single part. So we're gonna do a 2-part video, and we're gonna kind of talk about we'll go ahead and talk about what you did. Share what you did in the first part. You're gonna explain a little better than me.
Yeah, so the part 1, it was gonna be boring. It's just doing a ladder load and coming up with the ogive, and just going down that rabbit hole. I tried to keep it like at 10 minutes. It's probably about 3 hour worth of information. So I completely support just putting it into one. So the first one, we're doing the ladder load and finding my flat spot. Also figuring out, how to get my projectile off the lands and the grooves and where it should be sitting in the case and everything. And then the second video, I went out and just, put it to the test to see if what I had learned on YouTube and what I had put into place would actually pay off.
Well, I thought it was really cool. I was editing it, obviously, but just seeing like you're just changing it by like a tenth, and seeing the groups, they're just shrinking. Change the next load, and then they open up, and you can kind of see where that perfect mix is. It's not really like it's not. Well, I don't really know which one's better. Like, no, it's that one. Like, that's the one. And when you guys watch it, you're going to see too. It's going to be very obvious, and you're like, wow, it's kind of like a group. And all of a sudden, it's just tightens up, and then it opens up to a group again. Like, well, there you go, man. You found your magic.
And what's crazy about that is I won't say that I don't believe in the ladder load philosophy, right? But there's certain points of error in it. So if I don't load the projectile perfect, or if I don't do something perfectly, then it's going to be off. So what I did on my ladder load, you're supposed to take your flat spot. You're supposed to go by 0.2 grain intervals, and then you're supposed to take your flat spot, and then right in between the 0.2 grains is where you should be loading at. So I wanted to see if they were accurate. So I took where my flat spot began, I loaded there, I loaded in between, and I loaded the next grainage also. Then I went out and shot it. And Walsh, you're completely right. Like I swear by the ladder load, because the one above it, the one below it, it shot just, and maybe semi-okay group if you're shooting from a horse. But then right in between where I'm supposed to load at, you got to just wait and see tomorrow what that 6mm shot. And I'm not the best shot in the world, so you got to just wait and see.
Even Chuck, he's commenting from Alaskan Bliss. He's like, cool, man. Yeah, backing the bullet slightly off the lands to that magic spot works. And you did that a little bit too with the match ammo, where you kind of knocked it back down to get into the correct position.
Yeah, I did. And I think I go over that in the video too, but yeah, it's all about buying the tool and finding what your gun's set up for. If you want an accurate gun, that's what you're going to have to do.
Yeah, he chimed in too. He loses gloves like crazy, not dropping more than 25 if I can help it. And that's why, like, those mechanics, they work good as burner gloves. If you're just gonna burn through them, it's fine. The impacts, I would probably say to spend the money on the impacts, because they're just a better overall glove. I think I'd be a little more angry if I lost them, so I'd probably pay more attention. Like the fast fits, I wouldn't really care. Like, well, they're gone. We lost them. Whatever. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Does a linear compensator with a muzzle brake help redirect the blast / reduce recoil? I know my thoughts.
You want to go first, Cody?
No, go ahead.
So yes, it directs everything forward. I wouldn't say that it doesn't reduce recoil at all. If anything, it might even increase it. Yeah, it might even increase it. But what it does do is it throws it all forward. So I have a couple guns with linear comps on it, actually 3. 2 of them, the barrel is set back into the handguard. So if I put any type of comp on that, it's going to blow all that out to into the handguard, and it can actually blow your handguard apart. So I have to have it on those guns. And then also anything in my house, I want a linear comp on, because I'm probably gonna suffer some hearing loss, but I don't want it to be permanent. And with a compensator on your gun, when you fire, go to the gun range and shoot that gun without ear pro on, because that's indoors, right? When you shoot a gun indoors, it's amplified. If somebody comes knocking with their boot on my door in the middle of the night, the last thing I'm going to do is be like, hold on, bad guy, let me get my ear pro on. So that's why I run linear comps, just to save my ears and to save my handguards.
What are your thoughts, Cody?
I don't run it. I don't have any guns with that. I built a gun with one that I really liked, and I would love the next gun I build is going to have one of those comps, a linear comp on it. But right now, I don't have anything with those on it. But I agree with Joe.
And I'll chime in too. I think I'll say the same. I think actually increases the recoil just a little bit, but it puts the blast forward. Now, that one thing really cool that Joe showed me for ages ago that we put on the 300 Blackout is that Indian Arms blast forwarding device. So what that does is it's like a linear comp, but you can actually screw it on or unscrew it. You install the nut on the other side of your normal muzzle brake, so it's like on the other side of the VG6, and then you just screw it on, and it'll act like a linear comp. It really does no recoil mitigation. It's just all over the place. And you take it off, then obviously you have all the spray everywhere, and it actually controls your recoil with the VG6. But then you can just screw the linear comp on if you want to use it for home defense, or if you want to use it on an indoor range. That was my main one. Like, if I'm going to use an indoor range, I don't want to just be like blasting. I know better now. I don't really care. But at the time, I was like, I better be nice to everybody else.
Yeah, I really want one of those Strike Industry oppressors.
Isn't that those super expensive ones?
Yeah, they're pretty expensive. But, I mean, you can have it on a compensator, and you slide that linear part over it, and you can take it off if you want.
Let me see if I can pull up a picture of that.
Yeah.
So Chuck Alaskan Ballistics, I can attest to that with the indoor range, but I keep electronic hearing protection next to my bed.
Yeah.
So I keep some next to my pistol. The likelihood of me grabbing it, I think every time I've gone to like sweep the house, I've never actually grabbed my Ear Pro. I do have some that can go super high, so I can hear like all the little minor bumps in the night, but I'm not very good about keeping those with me.
Yeah, I might have to teach my kids counter signs here pretty soon.
That way they can help you clear the house.
Well, one of them has a little glow in the dark pacifier, so I mean I know it's her when I see that.
So I guess we can chime in too. I don't think we're gonna talk very long about it. Those angled mag pouches on the.
1 second, Jason's trying to get in, so I don't know.
Oh, there he is. There he is. I see him.
Hey,
Jason,
there he is.
Yeah. What's up, guys?
We just finished up talking about. Yeah, we're finished up talking about. Yep. We're talking about the gloves. Any gloves you want to add that you think are your favorite, or certain ones that you thought were the best?
I was really interested in those the ones that Cody gave you, the baby hand ones. We're playing with those.
Yes. The small child gloves. Yes.
Yeah. Do they make those for adults?
I think so.
Those are Viktos.
Man hands.
I got the Viktos.
No, those are
Helios.
Helikon-Tex. Yeah.
Helikon. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So there was a question too. You can kind of put your input. What's your thoughts on linear compensators with a muzzle brake? Do you think it helps blast or reduce recoil? We were kind of saying it doesn't really help. We didn't really help us with recoil, but
yeah, not really recoil. I don't know. Like I have a linear comp on my old AR9, the one with the Glock mags. But the only reason why is because I was dumb and I bought too short of a barrel, and so it was within the rail. So I had to buy a linear comp to extend that past the rail.
Couldn't you bought a shorter handguard?
Yeah, I could have, but it wouldn't have been painted.
Oh,
Joe painted it all together, and it was just stupid. It was a stupid good deal that I had to go with. This guy I was buying some reloading powder from, and he had this AR barrel with this already on it and like a torn to crap upper. And it was Midwest Industries handguard with a stainless steel 223 barrel and an upper that was wrecked. But I bought it off him for $25. So Joe Cerakoted it for me and matched it with a different upper and lower. And then I bought a dumb shorter barrel, too short of a barrel.
So Jason, I know you talked to Chuck. He's over here in the chat with us, talking to us a little bit. Over at Last.
What's up, Chuck?
So he did say, but personally, all my AR-15s have good flash hiders. Don't want a muzzle brake when things go sideways. So that's why I like.
Is that what that means? That's crazy. I always thought I missed something else.
It's just a bunch of weird letters to say that. So that's why I like the VG6 Epsilon, because it actually has a flash hider and the muzzle brake on there. It incorporates it all into one. That's why I love. Am I getting them backwards? Is it the Epsilon or the Gamma? That's the long one. Which one's the long one?
I think it's the Epsilon.
Okay, yeah, the longer one, which actually has the flash hider on top of the brake, it just make like when I shoot fast in my videos, like it just stays perfect. Like, wow, he's a really good shooter, and I'm like, no, not really. It's the muzzle brake just saving my butt. Oh,
There's a muzzle brake. I can't remember the name of it. So the company is Helios Tactical, but they make one that's they call it their Vector Comp Hider. And it's actually made to be a compensator and a flash hider all in one. And that's what I have on my kind of go-to-war rifle is one of those.
Yeah, cool. So as you guys see, Black's in here.
I thought we kicked him out.
Yeah, I'm making sure
You're done. Cut him off.
Kick him out of here. I think we made him a mod. That's probably a bad call. He did share with me his he won the PL2 Mini, and he has it on his full-size rifle. Like, man, whatever you got to do. Like,
hey, a light's a light.
You know, and I think they designed it for that way because it comes with a Picatinny rail adapter and the Glock rail adapter. So
put it right in front of the mag
Black,
well,
you know what?
Rock it.
Welcome to the pores.
Yep.
I told him, I was like, maybe we should have gotten you an Odin, so you have like a million of those floating around too.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think that kind of segues. We'll get into the belt stuff in a minute. It kind of segues us into what we all kind of want to chime in on is flashlights. We were talking a minute ago about the Gucci-ness of handguards and things like that. Now, Olight's probably not the best light that ever exists, but we all have them because they cost like $80. Yeah. I'm not going to spend more on a light than I'm going to spend on an optic. Like, oh, my Surefire costs $600, but my optic costs $200. Who's doing that for lights? Like, I don't understand. Maybe you guys can chime in, and maybe the people in the comments can chime in on the mentality behind $800, $600 pistol lights. I don't get that.
Yeah. Well, the idea, yeah, the one that I was showing you guys in our group chat earlier was that you needed that $800 Surefire light in order to use that Surefire holster. And the only cool thing about that holster is you don't have to worry about if you have a comp on your pistol or if you have a suppressor. Like, that holster will still work, but you have to buy an $800 flashlight and a $170 holster.
Good marketing.
Yeah, and I can buy any holster and just cut the bottom off of it and stick a suppressor or a comp through it too. Like, all you gotta do is take the bottom of the holster off of it.
Yeah, but the draw angle changes, Joe, and there's just you can't.
Whatever.
I just see some people that are like, well, why would you own an Olight when you can get a Surefire? Like, bro, I'm not gonna buy 5 Surefire. I'll buy 5 Olights. Like, they'll be fine. I have the same one that I got on my very first pistol, and that pistol's gone.
I have nothing against Surefire or any of the other high-end flashlights, but if you tell me that I have to pay $250 for a flashlight, I'm going to tell you to pound sand. Like, I can build half of a gun for $250. Well, before COVID, you know, $250. That's a complete lower and upper. And no thanks.
Yeah. You know, and I'll say this: like, if Olight was $250 a light, I'd be on Amazon looking at.
Yep.
It'd be Surefire, but it'd be SURFYR.
No. What's the one I'm sending you? What's that one called?
I don't know, but I'm so excited to.
It's to like so some people on Amazon, they reached out to us and like, can you review our junky light? And we're like, Jason was like, please. I was like, fine.
Yeah. They don't know what they got themselves into. They should have watched more than just like half of a video.
Yeah, they have
no idea.
These guys are gonna love it. Like, it's probably gonna get shot at.
Well, we gonna tell the truth. But I will say this, on Amazon, there's I wish I had it down here. So my everyday carry, you can carry some Olights or whatever. My everyday carry actually came off of Amazon for $30. It's a Streamlight. It's a little Streamlight.
Good.
Yeah, it's a little Streamlight, and it's rechargeable with a micro USB. It was $30. And I mean, it has a high and a low function, but it's tiny. I keep it in my top pocket of my jacket for work, and that's my everyday carry flashlight.
Yeah, so I have the little Streamlight that goes in my back pocket. Takes a
AAA
battery.
Yep.
Yeah,
I like that one. Olight used to have
rechargeable.
Olight used to have this this flashlight. I thought it was super cool. It was great for like a backpack flashlight, those little keepers that you have in your backpack. So you'd hook it onto there, and it would only turn on. It had a magnetic base, so when you pulled it away from the key ring is when it would turn on, and you could use it in your backpack, and then pop it back onto the keychain, and it would turn off as soon as it reconnected. And they stopped making that.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And I just want to say real quick that I don't think any of us are like huge Olight fans. It's just they make the flashlights that we're looking for right now, and they're decent.
Yeah.
So if any of our viewers out there, if you know of a flashlight company that's under $100 for the majority of their lights that are rechargeable and that are tough as nails, let us know. Well, I'll swap. How many Olights do I own now? 2.5. I'm going to count the half as the shot one.
I still want that one. I want to find a way to mount it. Maybe I'll just glue it on.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
I
that
still have
Olight
it.
Mini, that's what kind of turned me on the Olight was that Olight Mini. You know, as a weapons light, it didn't look like you had a big freaking flashlight on the front of your gun. That's what I liked about it. And then, you know, now we're starting to learn a little more about the magnetic features and the charging bases and all that stuff. I don't know. I think they're being pretty innovative with some of the stuff they're coming out with.
Yeah, and they're doing good work. Their newest one that they were talking about doing is the autism awareness one. So they're going to be coming out with some flashlights that have a little puzzle piece that you see when they're talking about autism awareness, and they're raising money for autism awareness. So they're doing some good in the world, and they make some decent flashlights.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so going to one of our questions. Harry says to us, the price of optics is kind of crazy.
Oh, come on. You have to say his whole name. Harry Balzania.
Harry. Yeah, it's a great name. Should I buy an optic for my pistol or buy another pistol? So you're going to get – I can't wait to see this question kind of go amongst the group. I've trained with a red dot a ton. I think a red dot is absolutely awesome. I'm easily twice as fast on target acquisition, moving from target to target, getting on target, all of it. I'm significantly faster with the red dot. Irons, I'm garbage. You could say some of it, though, is training. Some of it's not. But I think a red dot should be the priority. It's like saying you're going to shoot your M4 or AR-15 with irons instead of a red dot. Like, I consider it that big of a jump. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Go with Joe. What do you think?
So first question is the pistol a different caliber than the one that you already have? And can you literally buy it right now during COVID? Then absolutely go with the pistol. So Braden and Walsh and I are complete polar opposites when it comes to shooting with pistol. I shoot to hit anything squishy. He shoots to hit a bullseye in the middle of the target. I don't aim with the pistol. So anything within 10 yards, I don't aim. I put my thumbs forward and fire the trigger. And it seemed to work well for me. Now, if I'm trying to do a headshot, then of course I use the sights and I aim. But center mass, I don't aim. So red dot kind of gets in my way. But I do have one. I'm going to start training with it better. But yeah, I say if it's a different caliber and you can actually buy it right now during COVID, absolutely go with the pistol, because you could get a red dot at any time.
I wouldn't go with like an RMR, though. That's just me. I don't think anyone's doing that much damage. But anyway, go ahead, Jason. What are your thoughts?
So I'm kind of torn. Going off of what Joe was saying, I remember this YouTube video that was out. The competitive shooter I can't remember the guy's name, but he's sponsored by Springfield Armory. He actually goes down that same rabbit hole. No, not Jerry. Jerry Mitchell. No, Joe, pay attention. Jerry is sponsored by Smith & Wesson. This guy is the Springfield Armory.
You said Smith & Wesson. I'm almost positive you said Smith & Wesson.
Good news is it's being recorded.
Yeah, we'll find out later on, Joe, who's right.
Okay.
Anyways. Okay. So the guy that's sponsored by Springfield Armory, my apologies, Joe. I don't remember his name, but he talked about that, and I was even going. I was supporting you, Joe. Come on. Anyways, he talks about that, like within a certain distance, he doesn't aim. This guy's a competitive shooter. He doesn't have to. Now at work, we're kind of trained the same way. Like I keep both eyes open. I shoot with irons. just because I don't have a holster that would use, with my red dot. But I'm kind of with, I'm with Walsh here too. Like the people that I know that shoot with red dots, and we got a couple people that I work with that shoot with red dots regularly. They're just so much faster target acquisition. Their shooting scores have gone way up. It's a great tool to have if you train with it properly.
You still got to put the reps in. You still got to do it. You can't just you won't just pick it up and be like, I'm so much better. It's not going to happen. Yeah. Sorry, Cody, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'll go focus on your question about, because I think they kind of, whether an optic would be a good choice or not. I'm going to go with your question on should you get another pistol or not. So Walsh and I have P320s, SIGs, and all I did, I carry a subcompact for work. That was my duty carry for years. Joe, how many years? 5, 6 years?
Yeah, it was a while.
And so
since it first came out, you bought it right after it first came out.
Yeah. And so I just recently purchased with the end of last year. I bought a slide that was already cut. Now I had trouble finding out which particular red dot worked for that particular slide, so that took 3 red dots, but we got it figured out.
In like 4 months?
Yeah, it was a process. But I like the way it turned out, but I still need some training. I don't have as many reps as Walsh does with it, but that one day we took it out, I thought it worked great. But going to your question, should you buy another gun? If you have a gun like a Glock or a SIG, maybe look at just getting another barrel. Another slide that's already cut and go that route instead of buying another pistol. But sometimes you can get into those aftermarket slides, and they're just as expensive as another pistol. So just do some research, maybe talk to us and see what we found when we were doing research in it. Go from there.
Yeah, Cody, I think it's he has like $500. Should he spend that $500 on another pistol or on an optic for the pistol he already has?
Optic.
Pistol.
And I really want to chime in on Harry Baloney. Make sure that you know your optic cut. And we laugh about this, but Cody got a SIG RX slide, and there's the Romeo 1 and there's the Romeo 1 Pro, which are different footprints than each other.
Well, I got an X carry slide.
Yeah, which is different from an X carry slide, which is different from an RMR cut. Just pay super attention to what your cut is.
Yeah.
If you don't know, just message us. We'll tell you what's what and which ones fit, because we've gone through the shuffle of the dumb of what works and what doesn't. I highly recommend RMR.
And enough people had this issue to where someone on the interweb has a picture of all the different slides that SIG made or somebody made, and it says, if you have this particular slide, this is the SIG red dot that'll go with it, or this is the other kinds of red dots that'll work. So somebody's already outlined it and is way more intelligent in that stuff than me. But if you have some questions, let us know, and I'll find that picture for you.
Yeah.
Or just buy Springfield Armory, and then it's very easy to pick what red dot works.
Sure.
I don't even want to get started on the Hellcat. The Hellcat drama, the trigger drama, still annoys me with the number of YouTube comments. I'm like, okay, fine. Like it's just out of control. Yes, the trigger operates differently than the rest of the Springfields. Move on with life.
That was so funny. I created so much controversy over just trying to figure out what the problem was, and just giving the information out there so people can make their own determination on if it was a problem for them or if it wasn't. Like, I really like the guy. I got one comment when I took a file to mine and I knocked it down a little bit and it was a lot better. I like that one comment that was cursing me and saying, "Congratulations, you just made a completely unsafe firearm." Been carrying it for over a year like that, man. Still haven't shot myself.
It's people were so angry. They're so angry that we told them that the trigger operates differently. Like, I've never seen it. Whatever. So yeah, Black was going back to a comment
even
earlier.
one thing real quick. Even Springfield Armory was mad about it.
Yeah,
when I sent them that email, they were even mad about it.
It was designed.
Whatever.
It was designed to operate that way. Like, okay, all right, whatever.
Okay.
Whatever you say.
Cool.
So Black was commenting on how bright the OLights are. That's kind of, we're kind of jumping subjects a little bit, but the OLight that he put on his rifle, the one that he won from us, I've never been upset with the brightness of my little PL2 Mini. I think it's the sweetest middle ground too. Like I've played with the Boulder Mini, and I'll show you kind of some of the bigger units and things like that have more output, and I don't find it's that much better. It's like, oh no, that PL2 is kind of that sweet spot still. So. Just my thoughts.
Hey, Black, did you get you a shirt yet?
Oh yeah. I probably should have won one. Eventually, you should buy one. Harry Baloney says, "Thanks, guys." He's like, "That's not my name." Chuck from Alaskan Ballistics, he says he'd buy a pistol. Of course you would. You have like every ammo available to you. So yeah, every week you're shooting some new sweet kind of ammo that I've never heard of. I just watch it to learn what the different numbers are. Like I have no idea what that is. I'm just going to watch it to learn what you're shooting. So the last one I guess we'll chime into, I'll add on. I think it's just going to be for a second. The other video we did was the angled mag pouches. So lesson learned, whenever you're supposed to run the angled mag pouches, they're supposed to be pointed toward the rear. So when I did the video, the way that those pouches are set up, you can't rotate them that way, so they point forward. And there is an easy. I put the whole belt on backwards so I could like see what it was like to have it on the right way, and it is significantly faster. But I think facing forward the same. I don't think it's really that much faster than just regular upright pistol mags. I will say that the number one thing I liked it for is clearing a plate carrier. So if you're running a plate carrier and the angled mags, that's when I was like, oh, I really like this now because I don't have to kind of do the hitch. I don't have to hitch it all, just come underneath and I can grab it because it's coming from a different angle completely. So I don't know. What were you guys, any thoughts or input on angled mag pouches on your battle belts?
I don't run them. Go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So I don't run them on mine, but like I have a duty belt that I'll wear, and then when I throw my vest on for like an op that we're doing, I have pistol pouches on my vest. So I take the mags out of my belt and run them on my vest, so I don't have to do the whole hitching thing like you were talking about.
Joe, what do you think?
I think that they're great as long as they stay in there and it works for your setup. Normally anything that I see that for shooting competition or competition shooting, I just chuck it out the window. Like it's worthless to me. But in this case, maybe it does have a place. And I say, Walsh, run them the way you want to run them. If you want them facing forward, face them forward. If you want them facing backward, put them backwards. I don't care if you want to wrap that thing around your leg and use it as an ankle holster. I don't care. Like if it works for your setup and if it works for you, then run it the way that it works. Yeah. I could just imagine the comments you got on that to figure out that you had them backwards. I could just imagine the FUDs out there like, I am a professional 3-gun shooting competition 4th winner gold class, and you had that backwards, and you said clip instead of magazine.
Did you?
I don't know. I would have heard about it. I definitely would have.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have. The FUDs would have been out there. Like
Yeah, and someone did mention that I probably should run around with them. And I do agree. I think it would be good to go jump around and do some stuff and see if they come just spilling out, because that's when you're gonna just leap over a fence somewhere and be like, "Whoops, lost the mag."
Burpees.
Like these are gone.
Do burpees.
Yeah, burpees.
That's what I went to. I do burpees with my gear on. If it survives 10 burpees, it's going to survive anything.
Well, we'll see. I'll record it and we'll see if I can spill out some magazines doing some burpees then.
Okay.
But I didn't find them to be that much faster. I thought they were a cool design. I like them because, like I said, I like it because it clears my plate carry a little bit better. In that aspect, I like it. But from speed, but I have also trained so much with them being upright that I don't know. I can do this fast.
I think that's the thing that you have to realize, that if you decide to go with angled mag pouches, train with it. Right? It's the same thing as anything else that you run. We were talking about this during the last chat. Like a year ago, if you were to have Walsh go out and run a pistol course on the range, out of the four of us, he might have come in third or fourth place, depending on how Cody was doing that day. But now yeah, man, you're dusting all of us. And so you put in the reps, run it however you like.
No, I agree. I kind of like it's cool. I'm gonna run a little bit more. I need to know if you lose the mags, like you said. I'm gonna do the burpees and see if they spill out. That's kind of the answer of like, will these actually work? Because the speed's not really much of a difference. So
just do a backflip like that FBI agent. See if they
that's the best way to test holster retention. That's holster retention test.
Right.
That's NIJ standard for holster retention.
Yep.
They just do backflip. So let's go around. We got about 10 more minutes left. Let's go around real quick and kind of talk about some of the things you guys are starting to work on, or share what we're going to have out this week. You want to share a little bit, Joe, about what we're going to do this week or what you're working on next?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really working on anything. I can't find stupid powder, smoke powder. So the 6mm stuff are going to come to a screeching halt because I need DFE 223 to continue with that. I'm willing to change up the powder if I could find any other powder. I do have 108, the Hornady 108 ELDs, I think, 108 grain projectiles in, but no powder for it. So all that stuff coming to a screeching halt. So really, I got almost nothing that I'm working on.
Jason, you tell us what you got. I want to hear. When are we going to get to hear about the outdoor adventures? Like, I haven't even heard about it yet.
Yeah. So, well, I feel like we have too many things on the plate here that's coming up. So next week we're going to be doing. So this Friday we have Joe's 6mm arc load development video that's coming out. But then next week we're going to be getting into. Next Friday we'll have kind of like a reloading 101. Not really reloading 101. The basics of reloading, where these are the items that you need to buy if you want to get into reloading. But then I'm hoping the week after that will be my Montana adventure video that will be coming out. And then that, if I'm thinking about this right, that weekend or President's Day weekend, I'm going up to Mount Adams on another adventure with the same buddy that I went to Montana with. So we're going to be doing some winter camping. Looking forward to that.
Real quick, Chuck's heading out. I just want to say thanks to him. Say, hey, Chuck, thanks for coming out here. We'll come join you on your chat. We'll make sure to get in with you and chat some more. Oh, Brownie's stuck in here too. What's up, Brownie? It's good to see you. When do you want to share a little bit with XPED we got coming, or do you want to wait and surprise everybody?
We can, yeah. So XPED is it's a company out of, I can't remember, Switzerland or Sweden. I should probably look that up. But they're really trying to establish from what I can gather, trying to establish like a base here in the U.S. And so they're sending us a bunch of gear for this winter camping adventure. I'm really looking forward to it because I have some winter camping gear, but I don't have winter camping pads, and I don't have a 4-season tent. So my plan was I was going to go up with my 3-season tent. I have one of those Wiggy U.S. military Antarctica sleeping systems. So it's basically 2 sleeping bags and a Gore-Tex outer liner that you could throw in the snow and you sleep comfortably. That's what I was going to take up there, but XPED really stepped up. They hooked us up big time. They're going to be sending us a tent, some sleeping pads, hiking pack, some pillows, some winter pillows that they have. So look forward to reviewing that stuff and sharing that adventure with you guys.
So yeah, so big thanks to gear.com and to Allison. I was going to call her today and make fun of her, but I guess she was under the weather. So I'm going to catch up with her next week, and I'm going to let her know that we kind of tied up some loose ends with XPED. So big thanks to gear.com for getting that moving through XPED. Don't you have this crappy tack pack you're going to share with us too? What is that called?
Yeah, so tack pack, it's a subscription box. I started the subscription this year again. So it was one I did a few years ago. And I think Joe's probably looking forward to that more than I am.
Not if you want to get your stuff back in one piece.
Yeah, they sent us a bunch of it's just random stuff that you get, and they were really hyping up January. I'm not going to spoil it for you because I think that's going to be our Tuesday video, but let's just say that the email was more exciting than the stuff that actually came in.
It's gonna be a good. It's gonna be an ATN level video. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And so I want to share with everybody too that's watching. We'll kick it over to Cody. Joe has warned us if we send anything to him, he's just gonna destroy it. He's like, "Cool, that's a brand new optic. I hope you guys want to destroy it."
No. I said that I'll destroy it if it's junk, or if it's more expensive than something that I already have and it's not better than what I have. So if you send me a $600 optic and it doesn't beat my $350 Athlon optic, then I'm going to shoot it. Plain and simple.
I love that Athlon. So T-Ran in the comments did say, "Nice mask, Joe." He's obviously recognizing the authenticness of the Casey Jones Ninja Turtle Nickelodeon mask that you are wearing.
Yeah. I need to get a hockey stick now.
You do.
Is that the T-Ran that we all know, Joe?
Is that the what?
Is that who we think it is?
I don't know. I can't read it. And like, man, I'm doing this.
I don't want to throw his real name out. Just tell me if I've worked with you before, T-Ran.
Yeah. One more quick question, and we'll go to the last little bit that we're going to be covering for what we're going to be doing this week. Have any of you guys used Civil Defense 9mm 50 grain? And if so, how did it perform on the platform you're using, etc., or like the G19? I've never used that exact ammo.
That's way. I wish Chuck was still here because Chuck would be able to explain this, but that's way lighter than any. I think the lightest bullet grain I've ever seen in 9mm was in the 90s. Usually, like 115 is pretty common, but 50 grain seems really, really light for a 9mm.
I used 120. I think
124.
What do we have to you? 124, 125.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have the Hornady.
What is that projectile made out of? I'd be curious to see.
I have the Hornady rounds.
I don't know. I know the 119s. I sometimes have cycling issues. I'd be really worried about consistency on a 50 grain.
Yeah.
I'd be worried about how far it's gonna go.
I mean, maybe that's the point though. Trying to make it so it only goes.
Oh yeah, maybe it breaks apart. So maybe it's better for home defense.
I think that's why I say the Civil Defense. Yeah. So Bushbuck, we've never tried it, but we'll look into it. And yeah, now that you kind of mentioned it, I'd love to go shoot it and just see what it does.
Hey, if anybody wants to send ammo this way, I'll shoot it out of a gun. But I can't find any ammo nowadays. So Brownie say, Joe, that you're not going to destroy whatever you get. It'll be more like tested. Yes.
You're going to test
I like your way of thought. Hey, is it bulletproof?
Yeah. So
good question.
So chiming into Joe T-Ran is the guy that you guys know. It looks like, or Cody knows at least.
Yep.
I'll tell you who it is later, Joe.
Okay.
Cody, all right, so chime in and kind of say the next little bit you're looking at or looking to work on or wanting to do, or whatever your ideas are.
Well, I mean, I've had a couple of people and a couple of subscribers talk about the PCC, the Ruger PC carbine. So
every day, it's like every day they ask me, what's the third gun, the second gun you shoot on the video? It's all the time.
That's my baby, and I'm pretty sure in that video I have the handguard on it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all that.
Yeah, so there's no updates to it, but yeah, I could do a quick video. Obviously, I don't have any current shooting videos with it, but I could do a tabletop and kind of talk about it.
And maybe they'll ask about it. I'm sure they want to see it. Everyone thinks it's a shotgun. They're like, let's see, what's the shotgun you got there? Like, that's not a shotgun. It's not a shotgun at all.
I love that gun.
Yeah, no, I mean, I shot it. I love it too. So it's pretty cool. So some of the things that I got for you, we have way too much stuff happening all at once. So some really cool stuff happening is, and Jason's been a little bit of a schoolgirl about this, talking about how excited he is. But Brownells has actually reached out to us, and they're going to help us out making our own optics test platform to test some of the optics that I do and give us some other gear. So Brownell's going to give us some cool stuff. I don't even know everything we're going to see, but it's going to be really cool. They have a new 1x8 that they're going to let us try out. So we'll see how that goes. I will say on those, it really kind of depends on the reticles, which ones that I like. So we'll see. The reticle is a little bit different. I'm curious if I'm going to like it or not. I finally have this Eagle operator gun belt done.
Prove it.
It's way over there. I can't get it, but I have it. I do have it, and it's all decked out. So this belt's actually going to go to Joe once we're all done. So it's all decked out in multicam black. We have some plate carriers. I said this last week, but we're gonna start doing some more stuff on plate carriers. We have the LA Police gear, the Atlas, and the Slim, the minimalistic one. So we're gonna see how those work. From a $90 plate carrier, I'm really interested. I'm kind of a plate carrier snob, so I'd love to compare them against like Cody's Shellback or against the AWS OCPC, some different ones, and be like, man, these for $80, this is pretty ridiculous. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, one thing. So with that belt that's going to Joe, the other thing I forgot to mention. So Chuck over at 1441 Gear is hooking us up with some holsters, and he just called me today. Said that they're in the mail. Not only is he sending that duty holster for Joe for his CZ, but he's also including the Safariland UBL mid ride and a QLS fork for it.
There you go.
So hooking us up.
Jason, I did get a couple guys talking about their duty setups. Were saying that they didn't like that QLS setup because running the UBL mid ride makes it kind of hurts them after running it for 8 or 9 hours. And I said, hey, actually, one of our guys runs the North Face adapter.
True North
North
modular holster adapter. Yeah, so that's another video that I need to get out. It's on my Grey Ghost belt, which is my current duty belt. I love that thing. I actually bought a second one for my run and gun have fun belt.
Like Joe's gonna be so mad because I want to do this because you have to weave that UBL midride through those super stiff belts.
Yeah.
And the one that you use, the modular one, what's the name one more time?
So it's True North modular holster adapter.
Because the True North one connects into the Molly adapters, and then you can move it around. Like if you need to shift a couple spots over, it's super easy to just reconnect it, and you don't have to just trying to jam everything through and reset and everything. Joe's gonna have a great time.
No, it's gonna be fine, or it's gonna have a hole in it.
That's a good.
Oh well,
I don't know. It's not my favorite belt, and you're gonna see on my review why it's not my favorite. If you shoot it, just take the pouches off, because Grim Hunter Tactical did give us the pouches, and those are really nice. So you can shoot the belt all day. Bush Bunker. So last little bit, he did say, "I seen the 50 grain penetrate level 3A armor."
I wonder if he's talking. Hey, Bush Bunker, are you talking about the rounds that are coming out of Lehigh Defense? Those brass projectiles? I'll have to look that up, because that does sound familiar now that you're talking about it penetrating 3A.
I'm trying to see if I could pull it up.
Braden, throw that
moving, man.
Throw that comment from T-Ren up there for Joe.
Oh, okay, we'll do. Hold on.
I gotta get all close like this.
Civil defense.
There you go. Yep. So yeah, I can kind of see what they look like. It's just that's interesting.
Gotcha.
We have not played with these, but they are certainly interesting.
I wonder what they're made out of. Aluminum or something?
Out of stock everywhere. Monolithic copper.
Okay, interesting.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I like to see the bullet drop at 100 yards, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 9mm, but I bet you it's screaming out of there when it leaves the muzzle, but it ain't going very far being 50 grain.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, we'll try it out. Yeah, Bushbunker. I mean, of course, it'll be out of stock until our grandkids grow up. But once our grandkids are older, they will gladly try that ammo out for us. All right, everybody. Well, that's kind of my last hoorah. That's the last bit for us. Thanks for coming out and chatting with us and adding some input and asking some questions. We love to hear the questions. If you come out next time, we do this every Thursday. So every Thursday, we're going to be starting our chat with whatever happened during the previous week or whatever reviews we did. So if there's a product that you're interested in and you want to know some more in-depth information, maybe we did an optic and you want to know, maybe we didn't say like what millimeter the scope mount is, or whatever questions you may have, we can get into those small details for you. If you have some specific questions of something you want to buy, you can just wait till Thursday, ask us, and we'll answer whatever you want to know. So that's kind of our idea. Any other closing shots from you guys before we close it out?
I just appreciate it. Having the comments or questions makes it go by a little faster.
Yeah, well, and Cody's showing off his shirt too. We got our tactical girth shirts and our thin line defense shirts here. Joe did make a really cool 1911 shirt that's going to be going up on the merch page too. So I'll put a link to the merch in the description for this video, and I'll see if I can link it right now. And I think that's it. My brain
Can't you
fell
go
out.
and walk at the same time?
No, I can't do both at the same time. It's like I'm going to do both things. I'm going to do nothing
and it just threw you off.
Yeah, just messing me all up. So yeah, here's a link to the shirts.
No.
Feel free to help yourself, grab some shirts, help support us. All
And
that
I would
stuff goes
say, because we hit on it a couple times, I would say our parting shots are, don't take our word for anything that we say. Go out and try stuff for yourself and find out what works for you and what you like. And just because it costs more doesn't make it better, but sometimes you get what you pay for. So I would say don't take anybody's word for it and just try everything yourself and figure out what works for you.
Yeah, don't be a marketer's best friend. When you say, like, this is the best ever, look how much it costs. Like, well, yeah, don't do that. That's really good marketing, but it's not good being a good consumer.
Yeah, I mean, we poop on each other's ideas all day, every day. So somebody will be like, hey, I'm going to buy this. And we're like, no. And not have any reasoning behind it. Yeah, we don't know what we're talking about.
The Strybog was a good choice, though. I don't care what you guys say.
No, I still disagree.
It's fantastic. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming out. We'll catch up with you more next Thursday. We'll have our 6mm arc video, and we'll have that sweet, sweet tack pack to talk about. All right, everybody. Take care.